We have with us today Dr. Musharraf Hussain, who is the Chief Executive of Academy Institute here in Nottingham. Musharraf, could you introduce us to the Qur'an? What are its basic structures? And I understand, you know, it can be difficult to read because it doesn't seem to be in chronological order. Help us understand that.
The Muslims believe that God is not just an ingenious creator, but the sustainer of human beings, and created human beings for a particular purpose and has been the guide. God has been guiding humanity. And this is why, the Bible has 66 books, which are God's books that were revealed over thousands of years to different people and different prophets. Similarly, the Qur'an, we believe, is a book that God revealed for guidance of humanity. But it was revealed in piecemeal. So from the Prophet's age of 40 in 610 to 633, for nearly 23 years in small bite size. It was revealed in bite size, sometimes a verse, sometimes actually a whole chapter was revealed, a long chapter, like Surah Yusuf, for example. So, and yes, it's not organized in the chronological order that it was revealed. So you don't have the verses that were revealed in 610 at the beginning and those in 633 at the end. No, it's actually not chronological. And we believe that because it begins with what is really necessary. So what is necessary for a Muslim to begin the book of God with? Well, definition. An explanation of who is the faithful, who is the pious, who is the disbeliever, who is the hypocrite. What is faith? Effectively, that's how it begins. Then tells a history of humanity, particularly with regards to the Israelites, and it tells a very detailed history of the Israelites and also how God created the first human being. And then it moves on to the Prophet's life in Medina, the city to which he migrated. And then it goes back to the belief system more and more as we come towards the end of the Qur'an. You have shorter chapters which are really about what should you believe in, and particularly how to remain mindful of God, aware and attentive to Him, and also the basic three beliefs. Actually just focuses on the three basic beliefs of belief in the oneness of God, in resurrection, the life after death, and in this idea that God guides people through His prophets, Risala.
So how many chapters are there in the Qur'an, and like how long are the longest and how short is the shortest?
Well, it's 114 chapters altogether. The shortest one is one-liner, Surah Al-Kawthar. The longest one is very long. It consists of nearly something in the region of 15% of the Qur'an is the first long chapter.
So you use this term, Surah Al-Kawthar. What is Surah? What's Kawthar?
Surah is you can, that's a chapter. You know, we say that's a chapter. So we say there are 114 chapters, 114 surahs in the Quran. And Al-Kawthar is the name of the chapter.
So how do Muslims understand the Quran to have been revealed from God?
Well, we believe that revelation is God revealing His message, His intent, His decree to human beings. But He does this first to very special people. We call them the prophets, the messengers. These, we believe, are selected people by God for this very special purpose of teaching. And therefore, they have some very special characteristics, like they are what we would term ma'asum, which means very simply protected from sinning and disobeying God. So all the prophets are obedient to God always. So they have this special capacity to receive the revelation. How does the revelation come? Well, there's three modes in which the revelation takes place. First, the angel Gabriel might appear in his real form, in his angelic, glorious form, which the Prophet witnessed several times. The second is when the Angel Gabriel, who is regarded as the prophet of revelation, he's sent by God to deliver the message. And the third mode is when the Prophet gets the divine inspiration. So this inspiration would be in his heart and mind, and it's mentioned that he would sort of, before it would come, he would hear bells ringing in his ear. That would be a sign that he's going to receive the revelation. So those are the different modes in which the revelation would come to the Prophet.
How then did the early community transmit the Qur'an from the Prophet Muhammad onward?
Okay. Well, so the Prophet would memorized it. It was etched in his mind immediately, in fact, yeah. And so he didn't have to struggle to remember what the angel of revelation had brought him. He knew it, he had it. And so he would actually transmit it to his disciples. He would teach it to them. He would get them to memorize. And he also had a selection of disciples who were scribes who actually could write. So he would ask them to write it down either on pieces of leather or large bones, they would be written. And that's how it was preserved, memorization as well as written on various pieces.
We have the Qur'an today in so many languages. Can you tell us something about translation of the Qur'an? When did that start, and what's the import of that today?
Yeah. It's really interesting that the first translation by the Muslims of the Quran was in 1737. So you can, it took more than 1,000 years before Muslims would be translating it into any other language. And one of the reasons was, of course, people were not very literate. I don't know what percentage of people would be literate, but a very small number. But there was an emphasis for Muslims to learn Arabic, whether they were in Africa, whether they were in India or in Afghanistan, or even further afield in Indonesia and Malaysia. There was this huge emphasis on learning Arabic, and this is why the Muslim scholarship spent so much effort and time actually in learning Arabic, so the task of the scholars was actually to then translate orally and teach orally and use the Qur'an for their sermons and for their teachings.